Okay, I've been trying to record this video all week, and it's been up here for a long time, and I'm finally getting to a point where I want to try to articulate it all. And so, whatever version of this you're seeing, um, it is the best way that I know how to say all of this right now. Hi, and welcome to my first ever fucking YouTube video. Guys, fuck. I am so excited and slightly petrified to be doing this again. I never thought that I would be doing this. I never thought that I would be putting my face and my voice and my journey out there again. 5 years ago, it was like not in the cards for me. A little bit about my history with social media. About 5, 6 years ago, I was having some health complications. And if you know, or you know anybody that has ever suffered from autoimmune issues, you know that like diagnosis is usually a long road with autoimmune conditions. The symptoms are kind of mysterious, all over the place, and can be very easily mistaken and misdiagnosed for something that isn't. And so I was at one point in my life having a lot of health complications and symptoms. And I was seeing dozens of doctors, was getting bounced around all over the place. I had a couple like borderline traumatizing experiences in like emergency rooms, and got to the point where I didn't want to seek medical advice anymore. And so I went online and started obsessing over ways to heal myself naturally. And around the same time, I started a fitness based Instagram page to document all of this. And over the course of months, I built a following, built really a community, because I had gotten to the point where, you know, I was interacting with people all day long. They were interacting with each other. There was, you know, a lot of vulnerability in my messages, and a lot of people coming to me with things that they have really not worked out in their lives yet, and trusting me with pretty intimate details of their lives. So it blew up in a way that I didn't really intend for. I didn't know anything about social media strategy. I just knew that I had what I was doing for myself was working, and I felt like I had an obligation to share it with people, and I was doing it aggressively. And that is how I got attention and how I got traction. And so this was in 2016, 2017. So very different Instagram than we know today in 2023, first day of 2023. So I had built this community. Prior to this, I had a lot of jobs and done a lot of things, like had a lot of cool jobs, but wasn't really dead set on one path, or knowing what I wanted to do with my life at all. And when I started to kind of recognize that I had this voice and this ability to break things down for people, and really anybody, I feel like I have this ability to break things down into simple steps for people, regardless of their background on the topic that I'm talking about. And I can do that with really anything that I understand fully, and I can do it quickly. And I really think that that's a gift. That's not something that everybody has. And once I started to recognize that, I started to think, maybe I could do the entrepreneur thing. Maybe I should go and get certified in functional medicine or holistic health and do online coaching for people. And maybe this is something that I could find a lot of fulfillment with, and I could have a really big impact with, and I could make money in. And those ideas kept coming up, but I was shutting them out because I was already in college. I was already on this path that I thought had to be the path, because I had already put tens of thousands of dollars into this career path that I wasn't clear. And I kind of thought that, I had to stick to it. That was the decision I made. That was what I chose, and that's what I had to stick with. And I'm not going to leave that and leave my hard-earned education to go start an online business. Once you hit a certain number, messages are constant, comments are constant, and hate messages and just like negativity in general, it happens. Like once you start attracting a certain amount of traffic onto your page, not everything that you get on your page is going to be positive. And so I had my time. I had my phase of arguing with strangers on the internet. And then I had my phase of like, why do I have to do any of this? Like, I could just disappear. Why? And so I think something that was really important, and this is something that I know now, is at the time, nobody around me was doing anything like I was doing. I wasn't actively trying to build a personal brand until I got to a certain level, and then I started to think, all right, I need to do something with this, right? And nobody else around me was doing that. None of my friends were, nobody in my family. I wasn't friends with any influencers. I was like completely on an island, and all of these things that were happening to me in the early stages and that are completely normal when you start to have visibility online. I didn't have anybody to talk to them about or to normalize them, and I felt really alone in them. And so, right, like I was so passionate about building this page and this community and impacting people, but like the first few people to say something negative about it talked me out of it. Like there was a lot of emotional intelligence on my part that I think has had to happen. But so all things considered, after about 1.5 years of having the page, unraveling a little bit, like ended up just deleting it. I got rid of it. With Instagram, if you delete a page, you can get it back for 30 days, but it took me more than 30 days before I regretted it. And I do now. I do regret getting rid of that community. And not even just for myself, I will say also because there were some people that found me that I could tell were not finding community anywhere else for the things that I was talking about. And looking back, it's almost kind of like selfish of me to kind of just erase myself, like to kind of just ghost them. And I'm sure they don't even remember at this point. It's been like 3 years. But I felt like I kind of abandoned people, and that was so the opposite of but I'm going to keep going because I need to just get this out. But I felt like I had kind of abandoned people, you know, and it wasn't a good feeling. It was so the opposite of what my intention was with all of that. Um, how does this connect to what I'm doing right now? May always through and through been an education person. My dad was a still is a public school teacher, and has been my entire life. Um, I grew up around it. It's in my blood. Education was always going to be part of my story somehow. Um, However, I never really liked the classroom setting and didn't want to do elementary or middle school because of that. And so, I also kind of thought if I want to have my own kids, I need to spend like the day around adults. I don't know if anybody else feels that way, but spending all day around kids and then going home to more kids is like, no. So I chose higher education, and because I wanted to teach, but curriculum wasn't really my thing, honestly. I don't want to teach what other people tell me to teach. I chose to go into student services and was working in international student services at a number of different schools in Boston for the last few years. And May 2020, I graduate with my master's degree into a pandemic. And lockdowns were happening at the same time. I was like getting my resume together. Okay. It was not looking good for me. 15 months later, I did end up getting a job, but the 15 months that I spent looking for a job really put a lot into perspective for me. One, I think the biggest thing that I learned from all of that was I can't be in a field that can't withstand economic changes. Like, I know that every industry is going to be impacted in some way, right, when things happen in the economy or in the world, but I don't want to be in a field that suffers that much and can't withstand changes in the economy. So I started to think, what skills do I need to learn to be able to thrive in any economy? Like, those were really the thoughts that started to go through my head. And my boyfriend, silently for a long time, had been reading books on real estate investing. And not really, he did tell me that he wanted to start it. He wanted to start it. And I had no idea what he was talking about. I thought that what he meant was he wanted to get his real estate license. And that's all I knew about real estate, was that you could get a license. All I knew. And so he ended up taking me to a free weekend seminar that happened at a hotel. And if you've ever heard about these things talked about online, you know that they are sales funnels. And the objective is to get you in the back of the room and to buy a $30,000 course. That's the goal. And so we recognized that when we were there. However, it was the first time that I learned about how many ways there are to make money in real estate, and it prompted me to go on YouTube University, which led to a whole series of events that has unfolded into my life now. It's not all for the intro video, but I wanted to talk about specifically when I got onto YouTube, I found experts in real estate that are putting out free content, that have paid mentorships, and are influencers, have TV shows. And so these people, over the course of months, got closer to them, became mentors. And as I got closer in the communities, I got around more and more people that are building personal brands. And this whole year has been this like ongoing thought patterns of, wow, I really wish that I had this kind of support and these types of tools and resources and these people to talk to back when I was trying to do it all by myself. And I think that it's been kind of just like a mental battle of having to let that go, right? And let go of the what ifs. Because where I'm at right now, I'm starting a real estate business completely from scratch. And it's hard to think about, would I really be starting my business from scratch had I already built a personal brand that was years old at this point? And so it's hard to have to think about those what ifs, but at the same time, what is it going to do? I've learned so much about myself the last 3 years that I have not been present on social media. I have given little snippets here and there about, the things that I've been processing and my rebirth, if you will. But it's time for me to really get good again at sitting down, saying what I mean, and articulating the things that I want to say. Because I've already seen the reactions and the impacts that happen when I do. And I'm on a completely new level now than I was then. All of that go and to build up these storytelling and articulation and speaking skills that I know are like inside, and that I have every tool and resource now to let come to the surface. So that's where I'm at right now. I don't want to make this video too long. What I do just want to end with is what you can expect moving forward. I'll be posting a video a week. It is the industry that I'm choosing. It's one of the vehicles that I'm choosing in my own path, in my own financial journey. And while I think that there are so many different ways to make money and so many roles and places in real estate, I truly don't think that being a real estate entrepreneur is for everybody, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I think my message extends beyond just people that are in real estate. And so while I am going to talk about real estate, everybody has their... And what I'm good at is getting people to recognize how much power they have inside and how to use that to do what it is they want to do. I'm just going to set it and forget it, and 30 videos later, we'll see how we're doing.